It's Barnes and Leslie. Hey, head to the 99X app. There's some stocking stuffing items that you might like Pearl Jam tickets, Indigo Girls, Melissa Etheridge, Tom Segura, the comedian, Goo Goo Dolls, and much more. Just go inside our app, hit the contest button at the bottom of the screen, and you can also listen to 99X worldwide. Get the Morning X podcast on demand, all inside the 99X app, wherever you get your apps. This Matthew Sweet letter that he put out, we wanted to share with you. This is really sad. It's not sad because he's gotten worse. It's sad because it's really wild to hear him put it into his own words.
And you start to think, what is his daily life like? I don't know if you've seen the statement. He wrote it on the GoFundMe.
Yeah, on the money, as far as the GoFundMe, it started out, I think the goal was $50,000.
Was that what it was in the very beginning?
It was low. And it's up to $517,000, over $517,000, and their goal now is $750K, because I think at the time when they first said it, they did not realize, how much they would need in this situation. And looking at the donations, some of them are anonymous. Here's $10,000 anonymous, and then some of them you can see. It's wild seeing some of these celebrity names in here who have given, everyone, even people giving $10. I mean, it all adds up. This dude's
of course it does.
In a really bad spot. And the music community really came up and surrounded him.
Yeah, and I have to say, the first time I read this, Barnes, I couldn't even get through it.
It's tough.
So I will try to compose myself and read part of this, but Matthew gave an update, of course, on his debilitating stroke. Quote, "I've lived through the day where I realized I may never play guitar again. I've lived through the day where I realized I may never draw a straight line again or even enjoy the pastime that developed over just the last year of my life, painting with fountain pens and coloring with dip pens and ink." Yeah, that first line about I realize I may never play guitar again, that was awful.
Coming right at it.
I understand now what it means to need to reinvent oneself. When the self you knew before is gone, you have no other choice. You either quit or you keep going, and so I feel I must keep going. And I feel a great burden to do so with such incredible support that you, many of whom I do not know, have given me. So he's able to show gratitude, obviously. He says he has hope and thanks. Quote, "It's hard to start here without saying how touched and humbled I am by the success of my GoFundMe page. My future would be gone without it."
Do you know if he's able to speak? I wonder how this is all getting on paper. Because it's so fresh.
Here's the line where he says, quote, "As I learned to walk, bathe, strengthen my legs, learn what hard work really was, I cried many times at my terrible fate. And yet, I also was so thankful for the fate I had in life because it was a wonderful fate. And I was so lucky and found everything I wanted again and again and again. Not too many people, I suppose, can say that, but you have taught me what care is." So I'm assuming he can't speak because he's saying he's learning, to walk all over again.
It's so eloquently written. And I don't know. I mean, look, a stroke has touched us in many ways. Sean Demery, we lost to a stroke. Basically, the stroke wasn't, I guess, why he died, but it was the beginning of the end. And then Jimmy Barron had a stroke.
I know.
And he drove himself to the hospital. I saw him minutes before. Had Matthew Sweet not been surrounded by his band in this situation, I don't know that he would have made it.
And he kind of goes through, what happened when he realized he had a stroke. And at the end, he says, "I will try to make music. I will try to make art. I will try to express myself." It's a really touching letter if you want to go there and see it. And again,
what does he say about because he was just finishing an 8-hour road trip or something.
Yeah, he said, "I just didn't realize how much I'd lost." But then he said, "I was laying in this stroke unit waiting to be released, and they were asking him these questions. Do you know where you are? What is the date? What is the year? What is your name? Where are you?" These are the things I was asked every single day.
What sucks if someone comes up on me and starts asking all those after we think about it, you get pressure. You know what I mean? The pressure of the moment. Who's
just
president?
Even though I love that people are just reaching out, even giving $10, because like you said a minute ago, It all adds up.
It does add up. It's just so weird when you read all this. It's like it's not real.
It's like it's not real. And then you have hope. Remember the miracle man that we spoke with, who was the only person
Yes.
that ever survived the locked-in syndrome? I've been following him on Instagram, and that in and of itself is a miracle.
But that recovery was miraculous, like to the point
It really
of where
was.
he's starting companies and doing all these great things. It's so sad when like someone like Matthew Sweet, who you've heard his music on 99X for so long, and you just take it for granted, right? The Athens music scene where he really got a big start, and all of the inspiration that came out of that went into Girlfriend. And that whole album, that was such a groundbreaking moment in time, crossing over from like hair metal into alternative. And he was like right in the middle of it.
Well, one of the things he says is how he wants to try to express himself, quote, because that is all I have ever known and all that has ever brought me joy through a life filled with more sadness than anyone could know what to do with. I mean, think about what his daily life is. Like he said a second ago, just learning how to walk all over again.
And like he said, think about reflecting to how you thought life was hard before. Like, oh, yeah, I was just a rock star.
We take for granted so much in
Yeah.
this life.
He's a rock star playing gigs, having a slice of pizza, doing his thing.
Matthew, you are in our prayers, my friend.
I'd like to be in his head during that 8-hour or whatever it was car ride, which led right up to it happening. I wonder what was going on in his mind. If he was quiet in the van, like were there any things that, that happened that people can learn from? Like where if you're sitting and you start to feel these sensations, whatever they are.
Pay attention to your body, knowing those signs. I mean, he was the first one that said, take me to the hospital, which was great. It may have saved his life.
Something's not right. So they're at over 517,000 right now. If you want to donate, just search Matthew Sweet GoFundMe.
Yes.
It's pretty simple.